Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. If you guys are watching me for the very first time, the YouTube channel, and if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure to subscribe to it. Press the notification bell icon so that you are notified as soon as we upload any new video over YouTube. And first of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the live stream. Please make sure to like the live stream. And if you are not once again following me over Twitter, please make sure to do so. Sherlock Whale, it's my Twitter handle. And if you would like to have a little bit more organized feed, then you can simply just join the Discord server. The link is going to be in the description of this live stream. Also, you can check out the pinned tweet, and you can click on this link, the Discord server. You can join the Discord server, and you can simply just receive calls, analysis, and everything. But I regularly share my updates, analysis, and everything over my Twitter account as well. I hope all of you are doing good. Now, this is going to be a very important live stream because, the last week when we did the live stream, actually, price was trading somewhere, under $66,000 region. So it's been a very important week, right? It's actually been a very important week. So, there are quite a few things that I would be discussing in this live stream, specifically related to Bitcoin. What exactly could be the next month? What exactly could the next month bring us? Just give me a second. Let me try to adjust a few settings. I hope the audio is clear, because I just recently, moved into this new apartment and I don't really have a stable internet connection as of now. So I hope the audio and everything, it's super clear. Okay, so let's start the update about BTC. So, the moment we speak, you can actually see this thing. The price is currently trading around $63,000 region, and we just bounced off this horizontal support around $62,500 region. Now, the reason why I say that this is going to be a very important update, this is going to be a very important live stream, is because, the future of BTC as of now, we are hitting into $66,000 resistance area. It's basically hanging in the balance, and, same is the case with USDT dominance. The previous updates that we did, the problem was that these two charts, the Bitcoin chart and the USDT dominance chart, they were actually not perfectly synced with each other. But this is not the case as of now. We will be looking at the future of altcoins as well, because we have already seen this thing that the majority of the altcoins, they are literally just going crazy. The reason for this is total 2, total 3 charts. And I predicted this thing, by the way, during my last live stream as well. When price on the total 3 chart, it was trading somewhere under this trend line. I predicted this thing that this is going to be a very impulsive break above the trend line, which means that the altcoins, they are going to have a little bit of a rally thing, whatever you would like to call it. But once again, we are back at this resistance area. Price on the 4-hour time frame chart, on the total 3 chart, has formed two very precise, very beautiful equal tops around this resistance area. Price seems to have already retested this trend line, this neckline, sorry, and seems to have have faced a strong rejection around this neckline. So we will be talking about the altcoins as well. But first of all, let's discuss the what exactly could be happening with BTC. Immediately looking at the chart, you would notice that price seems to be bouncing off $62,500 support. And we have obviously a very strong resistance area around $66,000 region. This resistance area has a bit of a significance. If you would look at it in terms of the USDT dominance chart, we will be talking about that later on. But first of all, let's start with the structure part. Now, if you would look at the 4-hour market structure of Bitcoin, I'm talking about the external structure. It's very much bullish, right? But once again, last time too, the problem was that the structure, it was bearish, but once again the range, it was too big. So, that's why in this live stream, I wouldn't really be talking about the external structure part. I would only be focusing on the internal structure because, the range, it's too wide. The range down below the level is at $52,500 region, and the level on the upside, it's somewhere around like, $66,000 region. So it's a very wide range. And we cannot really play that much of a wide range. We would have to immediately focus on what exactly is happening in terms of the internal structure, because that's the most important thing. That's where we can predict where exactly Bitcoin could be headed towards in a short term. Now, if you guys remember, when we were trading back at $53,000 region, I did say that there is every possibility that price could be moving back up to like $62,000, $63,000 region. And if you guys remember, that's where we opened a short position as well. We unfortunately got stopped out of that short position. I have no shame admitting that I was wrong on that bias, because I was expecting the price to go down from $62,000 to $63,000 region. But the problem here is that, the problem with the majority of the people was that, although the external market structure on the Bitcoin chart, it was bearish when it was trading somewhere around $52,000-$53,000 region. But the first problem was that the USDT dominance chart, it was also bearish at that time. Okay, and I did mention this during my live streams also, and now it's completely up to you which chart would you like to believe, because the USDT dominance chart, it was telling you another story, and the Bitcoin chart, it was telling you a totally different story. And usually, since they are perfectly correlated charts with each other, which means that if one is bearish, the other one should be bullish. If one is bullish, the other one should be bearish, because they are negatively or inversely correlated with each other. But that was not really the case. Ever since the dump happened, ever since the pullback, the big pullback happened back on 5th of August, both of these charts, they were perfectly not in sync with each other. So yeah, it's it's right to admit that during our previous live streams also, I did say that it's a little bit of a confusion, right? Because these two charts, they are not perfectly synced with each other, and both of these charts, they're actually telling an altogether different story. This is not really the case as of now. But the problem that I'm pointing towards, the issue that I'm pointing towards is that price came back down to this $53,000 support, and then it started making these, in terms of internal structure, it started making these higher highs and higher lows, not in terms of external structure, but actually in terms of internal structure. Price started making these higher highs and higher lows. Okay, let me show you. This was this was your impulsive wave. This was your corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, once again, impulsive wave, corrective wave, and another impulsive wave. Okay, so the internal structure, it was continuously making these higher highs and higher lows on the Bitcoin chart, and similar was the case with the USDT dominance chart. If you would open the USDT dominance chart on the 4-hour time frame, you would realize that it was making these lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so you had impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, and impulsive wave. Okay, now the thing here is that we are sitting very close to the invalidation point on both of these charts. Okay, in terms of internal structure, ever since the move, ever since the bounce happened from 52k, there was hardly any instance at which price deviated away from making these higher highs and higher lows, which basically means that this internal structure, this internal bullish structure, it was absolutely protected ever since price bounced from $52,000 region. But now we are sitting very close to the invalidation point. What is that invalidation point? And by the way, just for the reference, just for the record, I'm completely ignoring this smaller swing high and smaller swing low. This smaller impulsive and corrective wave, I'm not considering that. Maybe in some other live streams I would mention, or I would explain why exactly I'm not considering this one. But this, some people may say that, okay, this is a valid impulsive wave and corrective wave, but I'm simply just not considering this one. Now, in this case, this is your break of structure. This is your break of structure point, which means that this is your last break of structure point, and this is your major swing low point, and price just wicked below. And by the way, there are two equal lows sitting just below this area. Okay, price just wicked below these two equal lows. Now there could be two possible scenarios. If price breaks and closes below this low, which is basically the major swing low in this case, if price breaks and closes a 4-hour candle below this low, then the internal market structure, it would, after such a long time, ever since we bounced from 52k, once again, the internal market structure, it has been perfectly bullish. It has been perfectly protected, right? But if price breaks and closes below this low area at $62,500 region, then the internal market structure, first time after 52K, it would turn bearish, right? Now, the mistake that a majority of the people would do, in my personal opinion, is that they would fail to realize this thing. Price down at 52K, when we went down to 52K, we were continuously making these lower lows and lower highs, which meant that the market structure, the internal market structure, it was perfectly bearish. Now, I must admit this thing here, I must mention this thing here, that the internal market structure, it's not always clean. The reason why we always usually talk about the external structure, or the reason why you would see the majority of the people always mentioning external structure and not internal structure, is because internal structure, it's usually very noisy, right? External structure is something that's giving you the complete picture. But in this case, we can perfectly see this thing, that the external structure, it was super clear. The internal structure, it was super clear. You had impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective. And market hardly ever deviated away from making these higher highs and higher lows ever since we bounced from 52K and ever since we touched the $66,000 region. Now the $66,000 region, it has, I would say, extreme significance. I would be showing you this in terms of the USDT dominance chart, and please stick with me towards the end of the live stream, because this is once again going to be a very important find. I would show you on the USDT dominance chart that why exactly do I believe that $66,000 region could be the top for this move, and we need to be extremely careful. Everything really depends upon how exactly price behaves around here, how exactly price reacts around $62,500 region. Now, once again, pointing out this mistake, what the majority of the people did was that they failed to realize that when price bounced from 52K, they failed to realize this thing, that market has now started to make these higher highs and higher lows. I must admit this thing, that I was one of those people. Although I was, in terms of external structure, I was completely predicting that market could go up to 62K, 63K, but I did not pay attention to the fact that, okay, it's continuously making these higher highs and higher lows in terms of internal structure. I completely ignored that fact, although I should have not done that. Now, in this situation, the reason why I say that we need to be extremely careful of these two equal lows or this major swing low is, first, because, we have usually seen this thing, the market would wick above, because we know that whenever there are equal highs, the majority of the people, they would take their short trades. Whenever there are equal lows present on the chart, people would usually take their long trades, and they would be placing their stop losses just below these lows. So there are two possible scenarios as of now. The first one, which is very unlikely in my opinion, is that price would simply just wick below, as it has already done. It would take out all these stop losses placed below these lows, and it would not close a 4-hour candle below these lows. And it would simply just bounce from here and go all the way up to back again around $67,500 region or $67,000 region. That's where a major resistance exists in terms of the Bitcoin chart. I would be showing you the significance of $67,500 region as well. This is the first scenario, this is the first situation that may happen, but once again, it's very unlikely thing. The reason for this is because, we are sitting very close to these two equal lows. Any moment we could simply just close the 4-hour candle below these lows. And the moment it happens, the internal structure, first time after 52K, it would once again be bearish. This is the first scenario. The second scenario is very obvious, that we would simply just close a 4-hour candle below these lows. The internal market structure, it would turn bearish, and we would have to catch this move. We would have to realize this thing as soon as possible. Instead of just saying that, okay, let's just, take another long trade around this support area, or let's just wait for price to go back up to 65K, 64K, that may not really happen, because, price in terms of internal structure, the internal market structure, it would have already changed. It would turn bearish, and we would have to, simply just accept this fact, just like we should have accepted this fact, just like we should have paid attention to this fact when price was making these higher highs and higher lows when the bounce happened from 52K. So these are two possible scenarios. The first one, once again, let me repeat this. The first one is that price simply just wicks below these lows, takes out all these stop losses placed below these equal lows, and simply just bounces from this region. The second scenario is that price just closes the 4-hour candle below these lows, and starts creating these lower lows and moves back down to 52K, 51K, even down below 49K as well. I would be explaining to you why exactly. If price goes down to 52K this time around, I would be expecting it to break below. Okay, I would be explaining all of these things in detail. So these are the two possible situations that we have talked about as of now. So the internal structure, once again, I'm saying that we need to be extremely mindful of this, because we have already seen this thing that market has made this shoulder, something like this, in which price has made this impulsive wave, smaller corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, and then another impulsive wave. So, just for an added confirmation, just for a further confirmation, we would have to simply just wait for price to close a 4-hour candle below these lows, below $62,500 region. And as soon as the 4-hour candle closes, we would have to shift our bias. Although, price is sitting on this 4-hour support, there is another support around $61,500 region. But once again, we would have to be mindful of our approach. We would have, instead of looking for long trades, we would have to look for short trades. This in my opinion is very important, realizing that the internal market structure, it has changed. Now the reason why I say that $66,000 region, it could simply just be the top for this move, is because of the USDT dominance chart. Now let's completely shift our focus towards the USDT dominance chart. Let me remove this. Okay, so in terms of the USDT dominance chart, once again, one thing that the majority of the people failed to realize was that the USDT dominance chart, ever since it touched this resistance area, when price on the Bitcoin chart bounced from $52,000 region, when price on the Bitcoin chart was at 52K support, price on the USDT dominance chart, it was at this very strong resistance at 6.51%. This is first thing. And after that, price on the Bitcoin chart, in terms of internal structure, started making these higher highs and higher lows. And by the way, 50 plus people are watching this live stream and only 20 of you have liked it. I would really appreciate this thing if you are able to just press the like button. This would help me create new content for you guys. Okay, so shifting our focus towards the USDT dominance chart, you would notice that when it hit this resistance area, price on the Bitcoin chart, it was bouncing off this support at $52,000 region. And then later on, it started making these lower lows and lower highs. Remember what I said at the very beginning of the live stream also, that both of these charts, they are perfectly synced with each other usually. And secondly, both of these charts, they are inversely or negatively correlated with each other, which means that if the Bitcoin chart would start making higher highs and higher lows, the USDT dominance chart, it would start making these lower lows and lower highs. And this is exactly what we saw happening at 52K region, that price on the USDT dominance chart, it started making these lower lows and lower highs. So you had an impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive, corrective, and then another impulsive wave. And once again, there was hardly any instance ever since price on the USDT dominance chart, had rejection of 6.50%. And went all the way down to 5.27%. There was hardly any instance at which both of these charts, they were not perfectly hardly any instance at which price deviated away from making these lower lows and lower highs, which means that just like the Bitcoin chart had its the bullish momentum perfectly protected, price on the USDT dominance chart had its bearish momentum perfectly protected. Okay, so in this case, you were having these lower lows and lower highs. Now, what exactly is happening? Once again, we are sitting very close to this invalidation point. And by the way, there is still 1 hour and 38 minutes for this 4-hour candle to close. The USDT dominance chart seems to have made these two equal highs, but we cannot really say anything because there are still 1 hour and 38 minutes for this 4-hour candle to close. And we know the simple man theory. All those people who have been following me over Discord, they would know this thing, that simple man theory. You would see the equal highs being formed on the chart, which means that if after 1 hour and 37 minutes, these equal highs remain like this, then there is possibility that price on a Bitcoin chart, it could go slightly up, which means that the price on the USDT dominance chart, it would go slightly down. But this does not change the fact that once again, we are sitting very close to the invalidation point. What exactly I'm talking about? This was your last break of structure. This was your last break of structure, and this was your last major swing high. Okay, which means that we are sitting once again very close to the invalidation point. Okay, we are sitting very close to the invalidation point, and as soon as price closes above closes the 4-hour candle above this high, then this would basically mean that, this internal structure first time after, price had rejection of this 6.50% resistance area, the internal structure, once again, it would be bullish. And a bullish internal structure on the USDT dominance chart would mean that price on a Bitcoin chart, it has every possibility to go down and it would have a bearish internal structure. So once again, both of these charts, they're perfectly synced with each other. And as soon as price on the Bitcoin chart would close a 4-hour candle below these lows, price on the USDT dominance chart would close a 4-hour candle above this high. Price on the USDT dominance chart would have its internal structure shifted towards bullish, and price on the Bitcoin chart would have its internal structure shifted towards bearish. Since both of these charts, once again, they're perfectly synced with each other. So, we should be focusing more on short positions as soon as this thing happens. But immediately looking at this chart, you would notice that you have two equal highs being formed on this area around here, which means that there is possibility that after 1 hour and 38 minutes or so, price on a Bitcoin chart, it has possibility to go up. Okay. Now, the reason, this is everything in terms of internal structure and, similar things. Now, the reason why I say that $66,000 region, it could simply just be the top for this move is because if you would look at the daily time frame chart, you would notice that, and I'm about to show you a very important thing, very beautiful thing. So price on the USDT dominance chart on the daily time frame had these lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so back on 11th of March, we bottomed out around 3.77% region, and then we started making these higher highs and higher lows. And mind you, we are looking at the daily time frame chart. Which means that the market structure, it's going to be extremely important. The higher time frame you go, the more important these things would become. The lower time frame you would go, the less important these things usually become. So we are looking at the daily time frame chart, which means that the structure, it's going to be absolutely important. So in this case, you have an impulsive wave, you have a corrective wave, you have impulsive wave. Once again, you have corrective wave, you have impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, and this is simply just a corrective wave information. Now, this discussion is going to be very important, in terms of the daily time frame chart, the thing that I'm about to show you. I don't know how many of you, would actually understand this thing, but if you're not able to get any of these things, you can simply just open the support ticket in Discord server and I would explain to you what exactly I'm talking about. Or you could simply just watch this YouTube video, back again, and you would have an idea about what exactly I'm pointing towards in terms of the daily time frame structure. Now, if I draw the quartiles on these higher highs and higher lows, these impulsive and corrective waves, okay? So this was a first impulsive and corrective wave, and we know that, you can call it the Fibonacci levels, you can call it the quartiles, it's completely up to you. Let me go to the settings and let me turn on the Q symbol. Okay. So in this thing, you would notice that this was a major swing low, this was a major swing high. If I draw the quartiles, you would notice that price on the USDT dominance chart, it went down to 4.0% at around 75% region, and then it simply just bounced off that area, which basically marked the top on the Bitcoin chart. Okay, this is the first instance. Let's just keep counting. Now this was the second instance. Once again, this was your major swing low, or this was your swing low, this was your swing high. Price once again had a bounce off the 75% quartile, and this once again marked the top on the Bitcoin chart. This is your second instance. Let's just do this at the third instance. Once again, this is a major swing low, this is your major swing high, and once again price bounced off the 75% quartile level, and once again, this basically marked the top on the Bitcoin chart. And this was the third instance, I guess, and this was the fourth instance. Now, if you would draw quartiles on this move, there are a few important things that you would have to pay attention towards. This is a major swing low, this is a major swing high. Now, in the previous instance, when price on the Bitcoin chart went down to $52,000 region, price on the USDT dominance chart should have bounced from 75% quartile level. Okay, but that did not happen. If I just adjust it slightly like this, precisely, you would notice that when price, back in August, when price was trading around $52,000 region, just like all the previous instances at which 75% quartile on the USDT dominance chart marked the bottom on the Bitcoin chart, in this instance, when price on the Bitcoin chart was down at $52,000 region, USDT dominance chart, it should have bounced from 75% quartile, but that did not happen. If you would zoom in a little bit, and if I just remove this highlighted tool, you would notice that the bounce actually did not happen from 75% quartile. Maybe it simply just bounced off 65% Fibonacci level, or a region like this, but it did not bounce from 75% quartile. And second important thing, you would notice that if you would look at all the previous instances, I would be showing you this in terms of the Bitcoin chart as well, but if you would look at all the previous instances, this was a major swing low, this was a major swing high, and after this, a new swing high was created, okay? This was a major swing low, this was a major swing high, and after this high was breached, a new higher high was created. After this, a new higher high was created. But in this instance, the 75% quartile level, it was not touched. This was first thing. And the second thing is that price failed to create a new higher high. These are two very important facts, which means that you should have got the idea when price was not bouncing off the 75% quartile, and when it failed to create this higher high, you should have got the idea that maybe, this is not really the bottom on the Bitcoin chart. $52,000 region, this is not really the new bottom. It would form later on, and this is simply just a half finished move, I should be saying, which means that this, now that the price has bounced off the 75% quartile, it has perfectly bounced off the 75% quartile on the USDT dominance chart. Now, looking at the historical data, looking at all these previous instances, you could say that now price is going to, on the USDT dominance chart, it's going to create a new higher high, which means that it would have to break above this high right here, which means that price on a Bitcoin chart, it would break below $49,000 region, because this high right here, it's perfectly synced. This is the 5th of August high, and this is, I guess, perfectly synced with the $49,000 region high, $49,000 region low on the Bitcoin chart. So a break above this high, we have seen this happening during the previous instances also. This high was breached, a new higher high was created. This high was breached, a new higher high got created. This high was breached, a new higher high got created. But in this instance, this high was not breached. In everything that was happening, a move down to $52,000 region and a move up to $66,000 region, all of this was happening in this region, which meant that this is internal structure. Internal structure usually does not really matter. But since now the price has bounced off 75% quartile level perfectly, this may mean that, price on the USDT dominance chart, it's now about to, or it shall be breaking above this last high at 6.79%. And if this happens, price on the Bitcoin chart, if on the USDT dominance chart, it breaks above this high, closes a daily candle above this high, prints a new higher high, price on a Bitcoin chart, it would actually simply just break below the $49,000 region. Okay, so looking at the USDT dominance chart, in terms of the historical data as well, it's my assumption. And by the way, there are quite a few other confluences as well, because if you would look at this area, price perfectly bounced off the quarterly VWAP. If I just turn off the rest of these dynamic lines, you would notice that this quarterly VWAP, previously when price bounced off 63, I guess, or $64,000 region, it was when price on the USDT dominance chart, it was simply just bouncing off this yearly VWAP. Now, once again, you can clearly see that price on the USDT dominance chart, it has bounced off this yearly VWAP, which means that price on the Bitcoin chart, it may simply just be going down. Okay, so this is my whole, theory about Bitcoin top for this move in terms of the USDT dominance chart. Now, the reason why I believe that this could be the top for this move is because price on the USDT dominance chart, it has perfectly touched this 75% quartile. But I must mention this thing here, that if you would look at all the previous instances, it was not like price did not break slightly below the 75% quartile. For example, this was the first instance, you had multiple wicks below the 75% quartile. Once again, if you would look at this instance right here, this area right here, you would notice that there were multiple wicks below the 75% quartile, which means that there is possibility that price on the Bitcoin chart, it may wick above the $65,000 or $66,000 region, which is basically the last high, which takes us to the point that why exactly, the $67,500 region, it's such an important region. Okay, let me just open up the Bitcoin chart. Now, once again, the reason why I say that you should not really be paying attention to these two equal highs is because there is still 1 hour and 26 minutes for this candle to close, which means that anything could be happening. Price could simply just break above. We should be paying attention to the 4-hour close. If on the USDT dominance chart, if price breaks and closes above this high, then this would mean that price on a Bitcoin chart, it would simply just break and close a 4-hour candle below this low, and the internal structure on both of these charts, they would simply just be shifted, which means that instead of looking for long positions, we would have to look for short positions. Okay, so finally I would like to highlight the importance of $67,500 region as well. Now, if I open up this chart for you guys, okay, so all right, so one thing that we did notice about the previous move at $64,500 region, the previous top that happened around $64,500 region back on 24th of August, was that if you would look at all the previous instances, price did go up to the top of this bullish flag pattern, right? This was back on 14th of March. Price touched this top of the channel once again. This was back on 7th of April. Price had rejection of this top of the channel once again. Back on 19th of May, price had the rejection of this top of the channel once again. Back on 5th of June, we had the rejection of this top of the channel once again. Back on 28th of July, we had the rejection of this top of the channel. Now, if you would look at this instance right here, 25th of August, the rejection did not happen from this top of the channel. This is first thing. Although the bounces did happen from the bottom of the channel, the rejection did not happen from top of the channel, which basically would have signified that, okay, this is an unfinished move. Once again, this is a major swing high, this is a major swing low, and anything that's happening in between is of no significance. Now, the reason why I say that $67,500 region, it could mean something, is because looking at all the previous instances, looking at the historical data, once again, at all the previous instances, price did get rejected, did face the rejection of this top of the channel. But in this instance, the rejection has not happened off the top of the channel. It simply just happened at this instance, it happened at $65,000 region. At this instance, it has happened off $66,000 region. And that's why I'm saying that, there is possibility that price could simply just go up and face the rejection around $66,000 or $67,500 region. This is first thing. Secondly, if you would draw the fib levels, looking at all of these previous moves, so this is your swing high, this is a swing low. If you would draw the fib levels, and by the way, so many of these alerts, they are getting triggered. I would be explaining the altcoin thing as well. Okay, so if you would look at all the previous instances, for example, in this case, the rejection happened around 88.6% Fibonacci level. This was the first instance. Secondly, if you would pay attention right here, once again, the rejection happened around 88.6% fib level. If you would look at this instance right here, the rejection happened around 88.6% fib level. But if you would look at this instance right here, if you would draw fib levels from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave, you would notice that the price rejection previously happened around only 70.5% fib level. And this rejection, once again, it did not happen at 88.6% fib level, which once again, shows the possibility that, there could be a bounce up to 88.6% fib level, which is once again the region which is perfectly aligned with the top of the channel, which is once again the region of $67,500 region. But, more and more price breaks down below. And, remember this thing, if price breaks and closes below the low that I showed you in the 4-hour time frame chart, then we would have to rule out the possibility that price could go up to $67,500 region. Because just like I mentioned at the very beginning of the live stream also, that the mistake that a lot many people did at 52K was that they failed to realize that price has now started making these higher highs and higher lows. So in this situation also, the sooner we realize this thing, the better it would be for all of us that price has now started making these lower lows and lower highs, impulsive, corrective, and impulsive wave. And you can clearly see this thing that price seems to be closing a 4-hour candle below these lows. The moment it happens, everything would change simply. And now let's just shift our focus towards the altcoins as well. I would only be looking at the total 3 chart. It's a good thing actually that, I mentioned this thing during my previous live streams also, that, a rally on altcoins, it was actually due. It's a good thing that the majority of these altcoins, they literally just went crazy during the past like 1 week or so. But you would have to realize that we hit this resistance area. This is first thing. Opening too many long positions as of now, it may not be a very safe choice, although you can still do that, maybe open some long positions in very strong altcoins. But you would notice that, first of all, price on the total 3 chart, it had rejection of this resistance area. This was first thing. And secondly, if you would look at the 4-hour time frame chart, we had these two tops, double top formed around this region. Price broke below the neckline, came back up, retested the neckline, and once again had the rejection. It's a classic double top pattern. And now this is the support that I'm basically looking at. I have already set the alerts around here, which means that, if price goes back down to, on the total 3 chart, if it goes back down to this region, I would be interested in taking some of the more long positions. Okay, but apart from that, long positions, they may not be very feasible. But on the total 3 chart, this is their invalidation point. If price breaks and closes below $605 billion region, then we would have to shift our focus towards short positions instead of long positions, because this is the, once again, the internal structure on the total 3 chart. And if price breaks and closes below this low, the internal structure, it would turn bearish, and instead of looking for long positions, we would have to look for short positions. Once again, I would really appreciate if all of you are able to simply just press the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you guys have any questions related to all of this, please make sure to let me know in the chat. I would be responding to the questions. And I just got a few alerts on the majority of these altcoins. For example, SYN. There are quite a few altcoins chart that I'm looking at. Should we close the longs you set? No, I have the limit set for quite a few altcoins. I don't have too many longs open. The only long I have open is on Pendle. Okay, it looks like a strong coin. This is our second DC. This was a first entry. This is our second entry, which means that it would be a good thing if price actually fills the second entry point. You would have a better average entry. But it's a very strong coin. I'm still confident that price could simply just bounce off here. But apart from that, I don't really have any other long positions open. Yes, I do have limits on some of these coins, but most of those limits, they are still far away from the entry point. Most prices on those charts, they're still far away from the entry point. For example, I have the limits for let me see. I have limit on the Mother USDT chart. I have limits open for this one, Nairo USDT, and then I have limits open for, I don't exactly remember, but on most of these coins, yes, there is this another long position as of Pirate that we are in. It was literally just a shit coin. It did give us like 4%, 5% moves up from entry, but apart from that, nothing significant on that chart. But I would take a look at it at the end of the live stream and we would decide what exactly we need to do with this. But apart from these two long positions, Pendle and Pirate, we don't really have any other long position open. This is a second entry for Pendle. If you are not into this long position, you can simply just take it. You can find the entry point, the exact entry points over my Twitter account as well. I guess I shared it over my Twitter as well. Is Sherlock's stream lagging? Voice is clear, but video is stuttering. I just mentioned at the very beginning of the live stream as well that I just recently moved into this apartment, so I don't really have a very stable internet connection. I've got the I basically have got the warning from YouTube as well that the stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. So yeah, the internet connection, it's not super stable as of now. I've got the date for 10th of October. That's when the the broadband it would be installed. So yeah, we don't really have a very stable internet connection as of now. Are we retesting $61,800 region? No, we are still at $62,900 region, and we are still bouncing off this support. There is a smaller support present around $62,500 region, but the actual support, the actual strong support is this one at $61,800, $61,500 region. I want to ask about dogs and hamster. Okay, let's take a look at both of. Hamster is basically a newly launched token, so the price action is not going to be enough for me to make any judgment on that. But for dogs, okay, so looking on the 4-hour time frame chart, you can clearly see that this one, it's continuously making these lower lows and lower highs, right? uh, if you have any long position in this coin, then you need to be really careful, because price is simply just in a free fall, basically making these lower lows and lower highs. This is not really the chart that you should really be looking to trade, and usually that's why I avoid trading these newly listed pairs, because this is a similar pattern that you would see on almost all of these newly listed coins over Binance. You would see a huge move towards the upside, and then you would see simply just a small bleed towards the downside. But usually what happens is that if you would draw the fib levels, especially on the newly listed charts on Binance, you would notice that a pump usually always happens, or a bounce usually always happens at 65% fib levels. So in this situation also, quite a few bounces happen from 65% fib levels, 18%, 19%, but the moment it breaks below, you need to be extremely careful. So if you are in any long position, I would really not recommend this thing, because dynamic lines, they are not really going to help any much in this case. The only option that we may have is the first one, that we would simply just draw the fib levels. Let's just quickly do that and try to see if we have anything. Nothing. This is not really complete fractal. Let's see if we are able to find any complete fractal. This might be the one. Okay, this looks like a good fractal. So if you would simply just reverse all of these lines, so yeah, there was possibility that price should have bounced from 127% level. The price bounced 6%, 7% did happen from 127% fib level. The moment price breaks below this 127% level, it's simply just gonna fall back down to this 161, 170.5% fib level. So that's why, once again, you need to be extremely careful. That's where eventually price is headed towards, in my opinion. That's where you can expect the price to go back down to. So it's going to be almost a 13% drop if it happens. But once again, it all depends upon how price bounces off here. The first bounce, you can only have one, you can only promise about, or you can only expect one bounce to happen, right? In this case, the first bounce of 127% level, that has already happened. I cannot really say that if the second bounce would be happening or not, because this level, it has already reacted. But if price breaks and closes below, it's going to be a free fall, and then we will eventually be headed back down to this area, 161, 170.5% fib level. STMX or MAV or TNSR, anyone from these three. BTC 50k area still possible. Yeah, you just need to watch this live stream back again. You would have the idea what exactly I'm talking about. Once again, 50 plus people are watching the live stream. Only 36 of you have liked it so far. I would really appreciate if you all are able to like the live stream, and don't forget to follow me over Twitter as well. And if you're not in the Discord server, the link, it's going to be in the description of this live stream, or you could simply just follow this pinned tweet and you can join the Discord server as well. It's a 4-hour candle close. When you say you're moving stop loss to break even and taking TP1, are you actually taking a percentage of profit when the trade reaches TP1? Thank you. Yes, I usually take 25% or 30% off, but it really depends upon you. I'm always saying this thing that it's completely your choice. If you would like to take 25%, 40%, or even 80%, 90%, whatever amount of profit that you are satisfied with, you can simply just take that amount. Thank you, Sherlock, for the guidance. Please guide on Pendle. We are still in the trade for Pendle. Only the first entry, it was filled. The second entry, it's around $4 region. So wait for the second entry to fill. Our average entry, it's going to be someplace around here. So yeah, please just hold this trade. Only the first entry has been triggered. It's a strong coin, so I'm usually expecting, I'm really expecting this to bounce strong once Bitcoin stabilizes a little bit. On the USDT dominance chart, okay, so there are no equal highs in the USDT dominance chart. We have simply just went past this region, which means that this is no longer valid. but it all depends upon how the 4-hour candle closes above this region. And I guess that, once again, we are very close to uh, we are basically very close to having the um, internal structure shifted on both of these charts. Okay, guys, I guess that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you have any questions, you can always DM me over Discord. You can always open the support ticket on Discord. That's where I'm hanging out most of the times, and you can simply just join the Discord server and we can have a nice chit chat there. Thank you so much once again for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you. It's a 4-hour candle close. Since the most of the times I'm doing analysis on a 4-hour time frame chart, so yeah, I'm usually waiting for the 4-hour candle closes if there are any open position. But pendle, it's far away from that. We have not yet filled the second entry even. So yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you.